Nostalgia Street invites you on a retro ride that's more than just a trip down memory lane.
Uncover life lessons and personal growth stories that stem from our collective past.
So you can live a richer, more connected life today.
Whether you're a 90s kid, an 80s teen, or simply young at heart, you'll find something to relate to in each episode.
Now, here are your hosts, Vince and Jeff. Well, welcome to another riveting episode of Nostalgia Street. With me is my co-host, Vince, my partner, my business partner.
I'm glad we've upgraded from host of sorts to actual host now.
Yeah, we're moving and shaking.
Motion.
So today we have a special guest. We're gonna get into all of her sordid details. Are there any sordid details we need to talk about?
There might be.
Oh,
Shoot.
awesome, sweet. We love the sordid stuff. But this is Nichelle. We'll leave her last name, a mystery until we get into this.
Because Nichelle is so common.
I know, you're like the only Nichelle.
It's not like we're not going to have a title pop up.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Forget that. Okay. So as usual, Vince kind of kicks off the questioning with a rapid fire question. So what's the question this week, Vince?
So Nichelle, it is the year 1998,
Okay.
and we are doing the first ever boy band draft. So all of the boy bands you can think of, and girl bands too, I guess, are gathered together and they decided they're going to reshuffle.
Okay.
Who is your first pick and who's last pick?
Oh. First pick, 1998, Nick Carter for the Backstreet Boys.
Solid.
Okay.
He's like the Tom Brady of that.
Absolutely. Last pick, I can honestly say I don't even know his name, but he was the blonde one in 98 Degrees.
Oh, so it's Nick Lachey's band, right?
Yeah.
98 Degrees, the blonde guy.
So
All
is he
right.
your last pick or is he the overall last pick in the entire draft?
In the entire draft.
Wow. Okay, Blondie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like he just didn't do it for me. It's fine.
So I think this is the fourth episode. Vince loves to take the best of these groups and shuffle them together. It's a fascination of his.
Wow.
I love it. Have you gotten Nick Carter before then?
I feel like I would take Jesse McCartney.
Really? Oh, see, I feel like
I think he just needs a backing
I feel
band.
like he's not 1998 though. I feel like he's going to be closer to like that 2001, 2002 time frame.
I don't know my time frames. So
I feel like you should do better if you're going to host a podcast about the 90s.
Luckily, this is not entirely about the 90s.
Jeez. All right. So our guest today is Nichelle Lund. Nichelle is the corporate sales manager.
Yes.
For the Holiday Inn here in Sioux Falls. She's super active in the community. What are all the roles that you carry?
I'm a corporate sales manager for the Holiday Inn City Center, so first and foremost. And then I am also on the steering committee for our Young Professionals Network through the Chamber.
Nice. YPN.
Yep, YPN. In that, I am also the chair for our book club.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I am also a team lead for the diplomats, also of the chamber.
Wow.
And then I am also a member of the Sales and Marketing Executives, or SME. And on that, I am this year's chair for the Women in Business Committee.
All right.
Whoa.
So really excited about that.
Jeez.
And then I am also on the Girl Scouts Dakota Horizons Board Decision Committee.
All right.
So do you sleep?
Sometimes.
I see a pattern. She doesn't work at the hotel. She lives at the hotel.
That's why I said I am first and foremost a member of the team at the Holiday Inn City Center.
I feel so underaccomplished right now.
Oh, and you were on a farm too, don't you?
Yep. So it's not a traditional farm. So we do have, my husband and I have 160 acre property
Wow.
in northern Minnesota. And this is our final year of a 5-year federal grant program where we have planted over 2,500 trees in the
Nice.
last 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
And we have kind of rehabilitated some of the tree growth and some of pollinator fields and things like that, because it used to be an old dairy farm.
Okay.
And my husband was actually just up there a couple weeks ago, and he came back. We have trail cameras all over the property, and he was like, so we have a bear problem. Here's the camera.
Whoa.
So we have, I think, right around like 7 to 8 bears in like a cluster of about 40
Are
acres.
you gonna start like a bear wrestling championship?
I told him, I was like, I want to put like those little like play school like slides and like playgrounds up there, and like have a live stream camera.
Monetize.
Right?
Yeah.
He
That'd be
doesn't
good.
want to, but I am in it to win it. You
You gotta
guys.
name them too.
You could be a future sponsor.
I could.
The Lund Farm Bear Cam.
We call it we call it Lundland.
Lundland. The Lundland Bear Cam.
So yeah,
Oh,
so
boy.
we've got that, and that's been a lot of fun, a lot of work, a lot of long weekends, and then my actual job.
Got a lot going on. All right, so let's hit the rewind on the tape cassette player. So take us to that memory that lives, as I've said before, rent free. It lives rent free in your mind.
Okay.
Take us to that time. Like, how old were you? What were the circumstances? Other people involved, and why? Why do you think that lives so vibrantly in your head?
So I honestly, and I would have to do a little bit of math. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I can tell you the exact night that it happened, because it was the night that Princess Diana
We have
died.
reports from Paris that Diana, Princess of Wales, has been killed in a car accident.
Ooh,
Okay.
spooky.
I remember this.
Right. Okay. So
You remember when she died?
Mm-hmm.
it was in 1997.
Okay.
Late August, early September.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so.
And the only reason I know that is because we listened to the radio the next morning and it was all over the radio. So the night that Princess Diana died, I was camping with my family as a young child, and two of our like friends of our age on an island off of the Atlantic coast of Georgia. That's where we lived at the time.
Wow.
The state, not the country.
The state, not the country,
Okay.
correct.
Just to clarify.
And there was like a tropical storm on the verge of becoming a hurricane at that point in time. And we were on an island camping. And it came through, and we had lived there for several years. We had camped on this island many times, and we were very familiar and friendly with a lot of the shrimp boaters.
Yeah.
And so when the storm kind of whipped up out of nowhere, we went and got on one of the shrimp boats. And because one of the safest places to be is on the water, not on land in
Really?
that particular
Huh.
situation.
Why is that?
I have no idea, but if you're like we lost one of our tents. If we were in the tents, it could have because you're not in like a safe structure.
Okay.
It's easier to like ride out a wave type
Sure.
of thing. And so we rode out a hurricane Forrest Gump style.
Wow.
Like,
Captain Dave.
and
I love
then
that.
we got back to the beach, and our one of our tents had fallen down. So it was my mom and dad, us three kids, our two friends, and our dog in one small ass tent. And there was one other group of people that was camping on the beach at that point in time, and they were down the beach just a little bit, but they were a bunch of like college students and basically having what is commonly referred to down south as a hurricane party. And you get obliterated drunk and just pass out. Well, it was a bunch of college guys, college girlfriends. My sister and my friend went down to the beach in the middle of the night after we came back to shore to use the restroom. And one of the guys came out of his tent to also use the restroom up in the woods. And then he came back down and came into the wrong tent.
Oh.
And he laid down next to my sister's friend and like started cozying up to her and like, hey baby, like give me a kiss, like all these things. My mom like who the hell are you?
And this is now a true crime podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
And they never found the body.
It's in the Atlantic somewhere.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, wrong tent. And so he leaves the tent and then he walks away. And my sister and my friend are coming back and they're like, sir, we think your tent's that way. He's going the wrong direction.
Wow.
And it like just completely drunk. And so he walks away. Well, now I'm awake. Mom's awake. All the friends are awake. My sister's awake. My dad, my brother, and the dog slept through everything. Like, what
Wow.
are you good for?
Yeah.
And so we were like, can't sleep. We walked down to the beach. And because of the storm, all of the bioluminescence like comes to the top of the surface. And we were just like kicking the water and just like glowing everywhere.
You
And it's
had your
just the
Moana
most
moment.
beautiful
Oh,
thing
I'm
ever.
thinking Avatar. So that's really a thing.
I was thinking Blue Lagoon,
bioluminescence.
honestly.
Wow, 3 different answers.
Yeah.
Like Brooke
Shows
Shields, come on.
generations. So that was the weekend of Princess Diana dying.
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
I was in Chicago
Oh, really?
And I woke up the next day, and we could see the embassy because it's on Michigan Avenue,
Mhm.
right by one of the rivers. And there were already a ton of cards and flowers and things
Yeah.
like that being collected there. That was it was one of those odd moments in time where you do remember some of that, like 9/11 or JFK for those of us who are older.
And
Where were you?
I feel like I was so young, I didn't understand the importance that she played in our world and our world politics, and just as like an ambassador for humanity.
Right.
Looking back now, I realize how pivotal it is, knowing that I've got like a big memory to kind of encapsulate that time, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but cool.
She was a very unique individual that did a lot of good, and I don't know how much of it was really known at the time until you look back. And yeah, she was a pretty cool advocate, as you say, for humanity like that.
Yeah.
So what were some of those favorite board games or video games or what have you that you would play with your friends or your family?
I think like the original Monopoly is always going to be one of my favorite.
Yep.
How cutthroat were you?
So
How many friendships have you lost?
there was like a table flipping at one point in time. Like,
That's our first Monopoly table flip. Whoa. And we've had realtors on the show.
It was we played, I think, for 15 hours straight one time.
Jeez.
Because the game doesn't end.
Right.
Like, it is absolute insanity. So there was I was younger. I don't drink a whole lot of like soda now and Coke or anything like that. But there's a whole lot of like Mountain Dew and Sprite and Cokes and stuff like that were
caffeine to keep you going.
Yeah.
One of our previous episodes, I think it was Tori talking about, or no, it was Maggie Miller, episode 4. We should do like a live stream where we bring in past guests, we play Monopoly, and we just ask questions and stuff while we're playing Monopoly, and
as long as I run the money.
Table flipping.
I feel like it would be easier almost to play something along the lines of Sorry, which is another fun one.
He's really good at that.
And then you should do like a timed one where you play Perfection, which is just the worst game ever.
Perfection.
Huh.
Do you remember Perfection? Like you all of the pieces are different shapes. You press down the board and you have like 60 seconds to get everything in the right shape. And then when that's up, it pops up and all of the pieces go everywhere. And there's like a thing on social media that says, this is where my anxiety started.
Oh boy.
I think we have our next purchase for the
Speaking
studio.
of games, what schoolyard games did y'all play? Was it Duck Duck Goose where you were, or was it Gray Duck?
So, Duck Duck Goose.
Okay.
Jeez. That's a Minnesota thing. And I did not know.
I know I
like,
never.
Gray Duck is a Minnesota.
It's a whole different world there.
It's like Duck Duck Gray Duck or something like that. Yeah. No, Duck Duck Goose.
Sounds morbid. Why is it gray?
Ask the Minnesotans.
You brought it up.
We were in elementary school, and mostly elementary school. It was Red Rover.
Okay.
You can clothesline people.
Yeah.
Clothesline people.
Did you? So speaking of that, like I remember, whenever recess would come and you had to divide up teams, being the first, or at least I remember being the last person picked a lot of the time, like playing dodgeball or whatever.
Yeah.
At the time, you're like, I don't want to be there. But then you look back, you're like, wow, that's probably some trauma built into people that needed therapy for being picked the last.
I think that those are the people that get like, in high school, they get like revenge hot. And then later in life, they're the ones that also like make, the best careers because they're like, okay, I got to be better than everybody else that made fun of me as a kid.
Or they become serial killers.
Except the blonde guy from 98 Degrees. He's still last picked.
I'm still trying to remember his name and I cannot. Like, it is gone.
That's why he's last picked. We don't know his name.
So when did you have your, like, let's pretend it's, well, I don't want to say pretend, but like in grade school, when did you first say, I think I kind of like somebody?
Third grade.
Third grade.
Third
All
grade.
right.
His name was Dustin. And he was like my first boyfriend.
Oh, so this is official.
Yeah, it was official.
Third grade official. What does
Third
that
grade
mean?
official. It
What's that
means
mean?
that we said we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and then we would like hang out on the swing set together.
Oh, there we go.
And that was about where that
You
ended.
held hands.
No, we didn't do that.
Not that scandalous.
No,
Not that scandalous.
We're serious, but we're not that serious.
Where's Dustin at today?
He, I believe, still lives. That's when I lived in Georgia, so he still
Okay.
lives in Georgia.
Now, what part of
state.
Georgia did you live in?
So my dad was military, so we lived in just outside of Fort Stewart,
Okay,
which is about an hour outside of Savannah.
gotcha. Okay, yeah,
So-
that's a nice area.
Yeah, it's
Savannah.
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
Absolutely
Did you get
beautiful.
back there much?
We moved in 98, and I have been back a grand total, I think, of like 4 times
Okay,
since then.
gotcha.
So no, not much.
Dustin's still waiting on those swing set.
He probably is.
Yeah, yeah. He paints it every other year.
His sister actually moved up here for like a year with her family for a job, and then they relocated back down south.
Small world.
Yeah, it was
Awkward.
crazy.
So, what were some of the TV shows that were popular in your household?
The news, and then I was always a fan of like Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I think it's called like Nick Jr. now or something, but it's like Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy and Doug. All that
Yeah.
was great.
Dancing Lobsters.
I remember.
Oh, wait, that's the Amanda show.
I would say that's the.
Yeah.
But that was a part of all that.
Oh, yeah.
And then Bag and Sag and Berry.
I don't remember that one.
I don't know that one.
Okay, go way back. And then anything like in like middle school was like Disney Channel original movies. Like that was like life.
So you were a cable TV kid?
I was.
Did you
Yeah.
ever have the non-cable growing up, or was it always cable?
We might have, but I don't remember those days. But even then, like cable was like a grand total of like 20 channels. Like
Sure.
it wasn't anything
Yeah.
like what cable is now.
Right,
So yeah.
You mean
you youngsters don't remember those 3
Well,
channel days.
what cable is now is just a relic of the past.
Every now and again, like we watch like cable on TV because we don't have anything to watch on streaming, which is a terrible thing to say.
Whoa.
Like, because we'll turn off streaming stations because we're like, all right, we got to let something build up, and then we'll turn it back on and we'll turn something else off, so we're never paying for more than what we need to.
Makes sense.
But yeah, no, we're watching Celebrity Jeopardy once a week now.
So who's a celebrity or a musician? I guess it could be the same thing, where you're like, wow, they're really aging on me.
All of them.
Did you see Backstreet when they were in town last year?
Yes.
The fact that they step touched and then they kind of limped off stage. That aged me.
Did they? Off stage.
Looking at their photos and like their videos and stuff now, it kind of hurts my soul a little bit
Yeah.
knowing what
That's a
they
good way to put
were.
Right.
Still love all of their music from like the 90s and the 2000s and things like that, but I'm realizing how much those videos did not age well either.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Did
So,
you well, this is from my childhood a little bit, but there's a band called Whitesnake,
okay.
and their lead singer David Coverdale.
And Jimmy Page made an amazing album together.
Oh, did it? Yeah. But most of those rock singers don't age well. It's the
Mhm.
drugs, the alcohol, the road life. I don't know, but like Joe Elliott for Def Leppard,
Mhm.
they still are rocking it. But he looks like, sorry, Joe, but he looks like an old lady.
Well, and who was the guy that did was it Motley Crue's frontman who did Rock of Love?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. So Brett, Poison. I think he did that one.
Okay.
Brett. We've talked about having a computer on here so we could Google this
things.
stuff. Brett Michaels.
Okay. Yep. Oh yeah.
He
Here we
did
go.
that. Yeah, you wonder what's under that bandana. Where's the bandana?
I'm
live?
pretty sure that he's wearing a wig at this point, and the bandana is just to hide like that like wig line because
Yeah.
it's probably not the greatest one in the world.
Yeah,
Mm.
I agree. I agree.
I don't know who any of these people are, but I'm just going to nod.
But I think the women I think a lot of women age so much more gracefully, as I say, than men do. Men
I
don't.
think, and okay, so I'm going to put the Hollywood trope up and front and center is like, we're not allowed to age like men, which is naturally.
Yeah.
So they are almost forced into like doing the Botox and doing like the fillers and things like that.
Yeah.
Some of them take it too far, but some of them it's just enough so that they do age a little bit more gracefully.
Yeah.
I think like Alanis Morissette. I think that she is just as beautiful now as she was back in the 90s.
Yep.
She's still got an amazing singing voice. She's still doing amazing things with music. But I think that she's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think men look good with the plastic surgery. I think of Kenny Rogers.
Oh,
like when he started
poor
getting
man.
whatever he did,
May
you're
he
like,
rest in peace.
whoa,
Like,
whoa. Kenny, turn that down.
I feel like he was trying to keep up with Dolly, and
I
nobody
think
can
so.
keep up with Dolly.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, like Dolly and Cher. I mean,
Yeah.
geez, they look like they're nowhere
Reba
near their
went
age.
through a phase too where she had so many, I think she had like cheek implants and she did like a facelift or whatever. And she looked like the Joker because she couldn't not smile. It was a little creepy.
Oof.
Well, I'll be carded until I'm 60.
Right.
You'll be what?
Carded until I'm 60.
You will. The Asian skin
Don't raise
just
it.
doesn't age.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah, whenever you do this or this, you lose 10 years off your life. At
Here we
least.
go. That's my
And some.
tips.
That's
Top
your
shelf.
tip.
We'll be right back.
So, Nichelle, was there a moment in your developmental years, whatever you want to define as that, where you had a moment where you realized, am I the baddie? Like, did you did something that you may have regretted, or you may have had a change in, like, there was an action that either happened or you something, and you were like, it made you reevaluate a little bit.
I was telling my friend this story yesterday, actually. Senior year of high school, I really liked this guy, and I was so mad that he had picked a sophomore over me.
Uh-oh.
And I made it
Dun.
my mission
Dun, dun.
to break them up and
Whoa.
go out with them,
Whoa.
go out with him.
This is like a movie plot.
Yeah.
And
Don't interrupt her. Okay, here's.
and it was before social media was a thing, so I had to like be very strategic about like what I was doing and like how things were working out. I made sure that like we hung out in the Starbucks parking lot or whatever, next to the grocery store. And so I made sure that I was there when he was there. I made sure to insert myself into his life as much as possible when she couldn't, because she couldn't drive. She couldn't do a lot of things yet. And I won.
Oh, whoa.
That's strategic.
We ended up going to prom together, and I won. That's really all that mattered.
I won.
Don't even know his
I
name
won.
anymore.
I do know his name, but I will protect the innocent.
And what happened to the girl now?
She last I knew, by senior year, she was she should have been on the show 17 and pregnant. So
So maybe you saved him.
maybe I did.
Yeah.
So you
maybe
aren't the baddie.
I'm not the baddie. I'm actually a really great person. I saved him from a bad situation.
That hadn't happened yet.
I really appreciate you validating me.
So
I
what
got you.
was that? What was that length of time that you endured, or that the younger lady endured as you took away her boyfriend?
I would probably say close to about 3 months.
Oh wow, this is like premeditated and
I
everything.
also may or may not have gotten and given mono to him and her at that point in time.
Oh, whoa,
But okay. In my defense, half of our senior class got mono that year because we were not great.
Wow.
Wasn't a pre-COVID like world like crazy?
Right?
Yeah. This has gotten really sorted. Vince always asks those regretful questions. Good for you, buddy. Appreciate that. Follow the sword
Coming in
for all of
clutch.
us.
Gotta have a little bit of bite to the show, you know?
So at what point in your upbringing, your development, did you say, hey, I think I know what I want to do? Whether that ended up becoming getting into hotels now, what did you think that you were going to do?
Like a lot of young females, I was very much influenced by Lisa Frank, and I thought I was going to be a marine biologist.
Oh, all right.
That was also like I doubled down just because I did live next to the coast at that point in time. Going shrimp boating, like I was able to like pet wild dolphins and interact with like sea turtles and things like that, like in the wild. So I really thought that that was going to be my life's trajectory. It was not. And shock. I live in a landlocked state. And then I thought like maybe social work was for me. And then I realized I don't have not the temperament so much as just like I don't know that I could emotionally handle it.
Right.
And then my good friend and I had talked about possibly one day opening up a bed and breakfast together. And I was like, he could be the chef because he was going to school to be a culinary a chef. And I was like, I'll run the bed and breakfast and I'll kind of do all the things. That was really kind of my first, like, that sounds really great. I get to take care of people and I get to meet all these new people. And then I started working at a front desk at a hotel when I was 18 or 19.
Okay.
And then I never left.
And that's it.
So, yeah.
Did you have any mentors or teachers that kind of helped you make that decision?
Working at the front desk was kind of like my like, okay, let's see if I even like interacting with this many people on a regular basis. And I worked at a hotel in Houston. So it was, I got to meet a lot of different people and I got to interact with a lot of different kinds of colleagues. And it was a really wonderful experience for me. And like, that was my family. My director of sales at that location really was a mentor of like life and also like work. And this is how you do things. And when I eventually left that hotel for another organization where I was out doing task force is what we kind of refer to it as. Okay. I would go to troubled hotels and be kind of like a fixer, help them hire, help them gain market share, help them, figure out what was going wrong and how we could kind of course correct to increase their scores, increase their sales, things like that. And I would do that all over Houston, Corpus Christi, South Dallas.
Gordona Ramsay of the hotels.
So you got to have a couple either spooky or wild hotel stories at this point.
I do, yes.
I don't know. I wouldn't go spooky. You got to go sordid.
That is your word of the day today. For those listening to this podcast today, every single time Jeff says the word sorted, you may take a drink of whatever you have.
Okay, and yours is regret.
There are a couple of yes, there are a couple of stories. I will give you one spooky and I will give you one sordid. How about that?
Ooh.
All right. So at one of our hotels, we had a ghost. And she was on the first floor at the very end of the hall.
Moaning Myrtle?
I don't know her name, honestly. She had, I don't know how sordid, like how spooky you want to get, but she had attempted to end her life and changed her mind at the last minute is kind of what we assume because she reached for the phone and ended up not being able to get it. And so our night auditor would frequently see her next to the elevator just outside the room. And people had experienced her in that particular room as well. So, and it was an extended stay hotel. She had been there for over a week at that point. Not like a week. We had checked on her and we'd done those things. But yeah, no. So that was kind of one of our spookier things that had happened, and it was before I started with that organization. So I want to say that it actually happened in the mid 2000s.
So it was a suicide?
Yeah.
That happened in that room?
Yeah.
Wow.
So she haunts the lower level of the hotel.
That's bizarre.
And then it's only 3 stories, so it's, not much. And then sordid. Okay. This one's a little bit more fun, but still just as creepy. So there was an affair happening in one of our guest rooms.
Affairs in hotels?
Shock.
Gosh.
and who was apparently a larger gentleman who had mixed Red Bull and vodka and Viagra.
Uh-oh.
And he passed away underneath his mistress.
Oh.
Oh,
And you have to keep that kind of stuff quiet at a hotel too,
It's
don't you?
hard to keep that quiet when the police are there, and so is his raging wife,
Oh,
because
she
you have
showed
to
up.
call next of kin.
oh,
Yikes. Yikes.
So that's fun.
What about the famous folks?
Famous folks. I had one hotel that was right near a music venue, which was a lot of fun. And even here at the Holiday Inn, we've had a lot of really interesting, famous people that have stayed with us. We've had Elvis Presley. We've had a lot of the presidents that have stayed with us. A lot of really great, wonderful music acts, especially before we had like the Denny and the Sheraton that are right there.
Right.
So that's really cool. And then I've had like Kesha and LMAO.
LMFAO.
Is it LMFAO?
Laughing my ass off, falling on the, what is it?
No, but like I'm sexy and I know
Yeah,
it.
LMFAO.
Oh, dang it.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
all right.
So they
Trying to
stayed
figure
with
out
us.
that acronym.
And then I did get to meet at another hotel that I worked at, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. That
Oh.
fits with the theme.
I was
While,
wondering if-
while Charlie Watts was their drummer for them.
Oh, that's cool.
I was wondering if
That's very
Lionel
cool.
Richie had stayed here because he was in town like a month or two ago, just secretly practicing at the Denny.
Really?
Yep, he would go down to Crawford's every night for dinner at like 10 o'clock. We saw him a couple times, and we were wondering where he was staying because he had a show in Minneapolis the weekend, but he was practicing at the Denny because the Denny is closed over
Right.
during the week. I was wondering where he was staying, but maybe it was probably the Sheraton. That probably makes sense.
I
It's
mean,
right
but
next
if
to.
he's experiencing downtown, especially for several days, maybe he was staying at Hotel on Phillips.
Oh,
Yeah.
A little bit smaller, a little bougier.
I had a couple of years where I was in the hotel biz also as a restaurant manager.
Okay.
And Chris Berman from ESPN
Mhm.
was coming to town.
Okay.
Yeah, his agents were very particular and overstayed on some of the things they wanted. When Chris comes downstairs into the lobby, and this was a very large hotel, it's still there. I don't know what it's called now, but it's across the way from Arrowhead Stadium
Okay.
in Kansas City. When Chris comes down the elevator, we want nobody in the lobby because we don't want him stared at. And
I'm sorry. Did I just roll my eyes
yeah,
as far
yeah.
back as I could?
so we'd already cleared out the entire floor.
Okay.
Like just to help on that front. But anyway, when a push came to shove, like, yeah, we can ask people to not talk to them or like that, but we can't.
You can't
kick
clear out
people
an
out of the
entire lobby
It's a
because they're
very
paying
large
to stay there
restaurant.
too.
if you want to rent out the whole hotel, you can do that.
Do it.
And then somebody came and grabbed me one
Increase
day and
those rates
said,
real
"Hey,
quick."
there's Dick Butkus is in the restaurant.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. He just died a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
So he was sitting at the counter eating, and I just kept a very wide berth. But I swear to God, as I approached him from far off, it was like his spider sense was tingling. And the closer that I got to the side, and he couldn't see me because I was behind him.
I'll be you.
Yeah, he just kept crouching. He kept crouching over his food. So he got really protective of his food.
It's like
Oddly
a
enough.
dog.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, he could kick my butt any day of the week, but he did not want anybody to come near his food.
I will. Okay, so and I will say probably one of my biggest, not regrets because that's a really strong word.
That's
but
a Vince word.
yeah, that's a Vince word. Something that I am not proud of. So I was in Houston and it was a super, super rainy night.
How old were you?
I was at this point probably 20.
Okay.
And still working the front desk. And I had taken over for the night auditor because they can only come in for a short period of time. WWE was in town at that point in time.
dang.
And I think it was still when it was WWF. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me. And we had all the flights are canceled. Like we have no rooms available. So at that point in time, we had set aside rooms for airlines. They paid for them. They're to go unused if the airline is not there because they're still paying for them. This gentleman comes in and he was like, "Do you guys have any rooms available?" And he's about 5'7" and kind of a stocky guy. And I was like, no, I'm so sorry. We're completely sold out. And he turns to the side and I was just like, oh my God, that's John Cena.
What?
Wait. You saw John Cena? He's unseeable.
Right. He's, I saw John Cena and my boss, she was like, the next time that happens and it's after 1:00 in the morning, you give them a room and then you call me.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to do the John Cena theme now.
So yeah.
He's 5'7". I didn't know that.
He's not a tall person. I mean,
Wow.
he's not even Hollywood tall at that point. He's Hollywood average.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's Hollywood short.
No, Hollywood short's like
Stallone.
Tom Cruise, and he's like 5'5" or something like
Oh.
that.
Tom Cruise is
Stallone wasn't.
5'5"?
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't
Tom
know that
Cruise
either.
is short. He wears like lifts, and he makes other people like you will never see him in like full body length next to
I
somebody
need like
else.
a high comparison like Kevin Hart, Tom Cruise, John Cena now.
Yeah, do it. I mean, John Cena's gonna be the tall one there, but like
That's
like-
crazy.
Channing Tatum and Chris Hemsworth, they are Hollywood tall because they're like 6'1" to 6'3".
We've learned a new term today. Viewers, Hollywood height references.
Yep.
And Gandalf, of course, he's the tallest of them all.
Well, I'm starting to see, like, I think we have a retirement strategy now
Okay.
because, for all of us, because when Lundland becomes, fully Lundland,
Right.
Jeff's got a background in hospitality.
There you
got
go.
that bed and breakfast you were talking about.
Yep.
I dabble in cooking.
I dabble. You should have your own cooking show. Like,
Working on the sponsorship opportunities for that.
Oh boy, here he goes.
But Lundland bed and breakfast, we could be consultants.
I feel like I would want to do one of those, like the Airbnbs that have like completely like glass walls. I want to be able to like have people like see the bears and see the wolves and things like that.
We have wolves now too.
Like we have, I've got a couple of photos of like timber wolves, which are scary, mean looking.
Not the
sons of
basketball
bitches.
team.
No, like
Those
the
aren't- that's not
actual
scary.
animals.
This could be a good episode for Halloween to go up there. Bears and wolves and
I'll send you some pictures from the farm. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty
Totally
cool.
should. Yeah.
Good. Put those up on the show.
I've got some like bear cubs. They're super cute.
We'll be right back. So with so many service positions, activities that you're doing, is there anything from your upbringing, your childhood that you feel puts you into that spot to want to serve and give so much of your time?
I was in Girl Scouts for about 12, 13 years total. I started when I was like 4 as a daisy.
Yeah.
I skipped 2 years when we moved from Georgia to Texas. And then I was able to experience hospitality on like a whole new level of, this is what I wouldn't want people to experience. And this is what I didn't enjoy experiencing, or this was amazing. And I want to give this to somebody else throughout a lot of different camping, hiking, backpacking, international trips to different hostels, and the idea of I really want to help facilitate really great experiences for people. And being a young professional on the young professional team, I love helping younger people get infiltrated into the business community. Like, let me give you a warm welcome, because I wasn't always given a warm welcome as a young professional.
Yeah.
As a diplomat, we welcome and try to keep our members engaged. I want to make sure that they're getting everything out of the organization, even if it's just a friendly face at mixers and mingles and things like that. And then through sales and marketing executives, like we had a meeting a couple days ago, and there was a young girl standing next to the stairs. I'm like, hey, are you here for the SME meeting? Yes, but I'm waiting for this person. I was like, awesome. Do you want to come up with me and I'll introduce you to a few folks until she gets here? And just being that liaison for people, because in Girl Scouts, I've done camping trips with troops that I wasn't part of. And I've done different events and things like that where I was the only person there that I knew. And I had to be kind of extroverted, and I'm not naturally that way.
Yeah.
And so I tell people I'm a paid extrovert because I want other people that are introverts to know that I can be that person for them.
And to clarify, this is a non-paid show, so she's just being herself today.
But it's only 2 of you. I know you.
Did you have any service mentors, folks that just kind of help instill that in you, or examples to like learn from?
I think it was more kill or be killed.
Ooh.
I didn't have anybody that really stepped up when I left my home hotel, for instance. I was literally like thrown into a hotel and said, okay, make it work. And so I learned how to do things on my own, and I learned, kind of the way that I like to do things. And part of that was I don't like to feel excluded, and I don't like to feel like I'm like the odd man out anywhere.
Mhm.
So I will go out of my way to make sure that nobody's standing alone. If I see you standing alone, I'm going to pull you into a circle. I might immediately leave, but I'm going to introduce you to other people first.
Yeah. You're reminding me of, in college, I had an art appreciation teacher, and professor, and she encouraged everybody. She said, don't try to buy the most expensive car. Don't try to buy the most expensive house. Take out a loan and go travel and experience the world.
Yep.
And I remember if it's Ritz-Carlton or Marriott, but they always try to coach through their management training about, giving people a great experience.
Yep.
And I love hearing those little stories you just told us about, just making sure that people they feel included. And because the world can be pretty cold.
Yeah.
But I bet that those people will not forget you anytime soon because, yeah, she helped me do this or that. It's that intangible, but
Well, and even
it's not forgettable.
they don't need to remember me. They need to remember that initial feeling of I'm alone and now I'm not, and I need to be like that person. I don't remember who she was. I don't remember what she looked like, but I know that she made me feel included.
Yeah.
And that's what I want people to walk away from an experience with me of I helped them navigate an uncomfortable situation and made it a little bit better.
Sure. She's atoning for taking away that girl's boyfriend. That's what I think.
Yeah,
I
and
am.
that's the quote of the show right there.
I will say he dumped me. So there's that.
What a loser. Now he's going to get
On
eaten
my
by the
birthday.
bears one day. So we are coming to a close, but we always like to provide the opportunity. What's one more fun childhood memory that comes to mind that you want
Or
to
young
throw out to
adults,
us?
any time period.
Any time period.
Yeah.
So I was not a child, but I was a teenager. And I was given a really wonderful opportunity with Girl Scouts to go to Switzerland for
Oh.
3 weeks.
Whoa.
And of the 21 days that we were there, we were camping probably close to about 14 of them.
Wow.
But I was able to do a night hike up to the top of a mountain, and we watched the sunrise.
Oh, wow.
And then we hauled ass down one mountain, up half of another, and I was able to go paragliding in the Swiss Alps at 16 years
Wow.
old.
Why are you so
Wow.
cool?
Like, and I will say, so part of that, I went with Girl Scouts and I went with my troop. It was 28 females for 3 weeks. The menstrual math is not great.
She went there. We
I
gotta say
did.
that.
I
That's
did.
another term to bring out
Don't
there.
even
Menstrual
care.
Oh my
math.
gosh.
So I tell people my favorite 3 memories from that trip all involve me being by myself. And one of them, the Swiss guy strapped to my back while we're floating through the air. And I'm like, shh, we're not talking.
Oh, wow.
The Swiss what?
I said, shh, we're not talking.
Oh.
Like, not doing it.
Did you load up on Girl Scout cookies then instead of energy bars on that trip?
No, but a Swiss trick that I learned, if you are like out of breath and really tired, just take like a piece of dark chocolate and just let it melt on your tongue. And it'll just kind of give you a little bit of an endorphin rush.
Yeah, I'm not overindulging in chocolate. I'm just trying to be untired.
Exactly.
I'm tired. Jeez.
So
So I feel like it should be instead of Where in the World is Carmen San Diego, it's Where in the World has Nichelle Lund been? Because you've mentioned Switzerland, you've mentioned all these other countries, Georgia, Houston. Favorite place you've been?
I'm going to give you two.
Okay.
So my husband and I, last year, we did a really, really fun trip. We spent 8 days in Kentucky doing the Bourbon Trail.
Ooh,
And we kind of learned through past experiences, like how we like to do like wine trips and whatnot. And so we kind of took that education and we applied it to this trip. And it was 1 to 2, 3 max like bourbon tastings per day. And we would really experience and kind of immerse ourselves into the tours and into their communities and kind of seeing what's local and experiencing all those local things. So that was really, really fun. So with my husband, it is absolutely that trip. And then by myself, I went to Banff, Canada earlier this summer.
Yeah.
And it is one of the most enjoyable, amazing places. And I was by myself. I traveled, there by myself, and I ended up meeting a couple of people on different like bus tours and different like eating tours and things like that. And I have an open invitation to Vancouver and to Australia to visit my new friends. So
nice. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Experiences. Michelle's about experiences.
All about experiences.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, it's been fun having you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
We barely kind of scratched the surface,
We
I think,
did.
on
I'm
some of the
sorry.
things that you talked about. But no, I like that we kind of went in deeper on some of those topics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It was fun.
You gave us some sordid details and some scary details.
Well, and really good opportunity to show folks that you can be involved in our local community on varying different levels, but the overall goal is just to make people feel welcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
we are a city. Rising tides lifts all boats. It doesn't take one person, but we can all kind of get to the same end that we need to together.
Love that.
Nice. Well, take us out, homie.
Well, thank you, friends. Thank you, viewers, for listening to another episode of Nostalgia Street. To find out more about Nichelle and what all she's up to, see our show notes. Otherwise, until then, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time on Nostalgia Street.
Awesome.
Make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform. If you're on iTunes, please take a moment and leave us a rating and review.
Head on over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. You'll get access to engaging visuals that complement our podcast content.
Thanks again for tuning in, and we look forward to having you with us on our next episode. So until next time, listeners, stay curious, stay engaged,
Never stop walking down Nostalgia Street.